Good morning, everyone. This is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my monthly paper pumpkin alternatives video. Let me just get signed onto my iPad here and we'll get going. So this month for paper pumpkin, the kit was Bon Appetit, and we got these little treat holders that came in a gorgeous grape paper pumpkin box. And I wanted to show you some projects that I made last night when I held Paper Pumpkin to show you how to assemble your kit, and I had some alternative projects. But before I do that, just a reminder, the October and November kit is going to be fabulous together. They're going to be coordinating kits. The October kit is going to be 10 Christmas cards, and the November kit is going to coordinate with 24 Christmas tags. So make sure you are subscribed by October 10th, and I'll have the link to my Paper Pumpkin store at the end of my post. So let me show you what I did yesterday when I had my Facebook Live video. These are the two projects. If you create them exactly like the instructions that came with the kit, the little hand actually glues to a little clothespin, and then you get the two tags that you just clip to the little box. Really cute. And I made alternative projects with the box by cutting off the tops and just adding cute little fronts to each box with the same layers. And then I made two cards. One was with pumpkin pie cardstock. I stamped the two skeletons and fussy cut. And then this little card where I used a Halloween stamp set that I had on hand and created a 3x3 card. So these were a lot of fun, and if you missed my video yesterday, you can just go back on Facebook or YouTube and scroll down to find it. An additional card I wanted to show you today that I haven't posted to my social media yet is this one that I used the cute little die cut skeletons and cut out little windows to have them peeking through the windows. I also inked up the stylish scroll embossing folder with smoky slate ink, and I'll bring it up closer so you can see how pretty that is when it's run through the Big Shot. So there you go. There's a few projects. Now I've got three to show you today, three new ones. I'm going to start out by bringing all of the supplies I need for my card number one, or project number one. It's actually not a card. I'm using the 1.5 inch circle punch. I've gone ahead and cut out two circles with gorgeous grape cardstock. I'm using the detailed trio punch, which is the corner rounder portion of the punch. These are two circles from the kit, one clothespin, two of the little sentiment layers, two of the little die cut hands, two of the skeletons. So we got a lot of parts going on here. Two of the doilies. And then what I've done is I've done the same thing that I did with these boxes. I just cut the top off right on the score line. I've got two of them. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble those. Now when you're doing your box bottoms, always fold this portion in first, your two side pieces, and then this tab fits right into that little crevice. Let me do number two. So good morning, everyone. I can see you all coming on. Now, because I did a video yesterday and I'm doing another one today, I am going to draw a name at the end for one of each of these cards. So you guys know what you need to do. I'm not going to ask you. Okay, so here are my two boxes all formed. I also need two pieces of gorgeous grape. These measure 4 inches by 2 inches. And I've already used the corner rounder on one of these. I'm going to round just the two top corners to look like a tag. Then I'm going to use this little keyhole and center that and punch out a little hole. So there's my two tags. Now what I want to do, I'm using some of the, let me see what this is. This basic black satin ribbon. I'm going to bring in my scissors. First of all, let me glue these together. I'm using 2 just to make sure that they're solid, and you'll understand once I glue them where they need to go, what I'm doing with this. I'm going to thread the ribbon through there and cut both ends at an angle. This one's already cut, so that's going to go on top of each other like that. This is the linen thread from last month's kit. I've just cut a little piece here. I'm going to tie that around the ribbon, both layers. And I'm going to tie the linen thread into a bow. Now I just need to make my bow a little smaller. And then just cut these off. Now this is where the magic comes in. I'm going to actually use liquid glue. And I'm trying to find the best front for my box. I'm going to add liquid glue to one side of each box. You can probably tell what I'm going to do right now that you've seen me glue this. I'm going to add this purple layer in between both boxes, and I'm making a little caddy, a little treat caddy. I just need to press this a little bit longer just to make sure it's going to glue together. Okay, so there's my little caddy, so you can put treats on both sides. Now let's go ahead and glue all of these pieces. I'm going to use Stamping Dimensionals on the Gorgeous Grape, and I'm going to repeat the same on both sides of my box. Next is going to be the little doilies. I'm just going to add a glue dot in the center. Put that on the front. Isn't that coming out nicely so far? Okay, there's my 2 doilies. Next, I'm going to add the little vellum circles that came with the kit on top of that. And then we've got the little skeletons. It makes it so easy when everything's die cut for you. You just plop them on your project. Okay, now I'm going to cover, I like the little skull in the middle of my doily, but I'm actually going to end up covering it with the skeleton. There's one. So you can see here that all I added was the Gorgeous Grape circle in this portion. Everything else came with the kit. Now let's go ahead and do some stamping. I'm going to actually bring in pumpkin pie ink. And we're going to do Toxic Treats this time on the sentiment. So there's one. And let's see, I'm not sure where I want to put this yet. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it right there. So I'm actually going to add the glue dot more towards the right. I can get the backing off. And I'm going to slide that under his hand a little bit, like he's holding it. So it looks like he's holding the sign. Isn't that neat? One more, again to the right. And again, tuck under the sign, the hand, like he's holding the sign. And then all I've got left to do is the little hand and the clothespin. So I'm going to add a hand on each side because we have 2 sides to our box. So I'm just using the glue dots. And then I'm going to add this right at the top of my box, just like that. So there you go. There's project number 1. And then I would put a couple treats in there with some tissue. Is tissue paper. So really simple. So now let me get set up for project number 2. Now this one I am adding a few layers of cardstock and some designer paper. This is the Halloween themed designer paper in our catalog, and I forgot to write down the name of it, but anyway, you know what that is. 2 pieces of basic black. This one measures 10 by 5, and I scored it at 2.5 and 5. I'm actually creating an easel card. So with an easel card, you need 2 score lines, and it's actually going to sit just like this. So you can see right here, it's got the little triangle shape. We've got another piece that measures 5 by 5, and I'm actually going to glue that to just this half of the card. And we want that to be even with the end. Whoops, hold on, that's a little too crooked for me. I gotta move that over just a tad. Okay. So now when I plot this up, it's going to sit just like an easel. I hope you can see that on the camera. And this is what it looks like as a side view. I've got 2 pieces of the designer paper that measures 4.5 by 4.5. I'm using the gray cobweb side. I'm going to put one on the base of the easel card. And the other one is going to go on the front of the square piece. And then I have a gorgeous grape that measures 4.5 by 2.25. And that's going to go right in the center. Next, I have 4 of the skeleton die cuts. The worst part is going to watch me peel all of the dimensionals off of these 4 guys. So what kind of ideas do you guys have as far as handing these out? I know some of you guys have your kids and your grandkids. I'm going to make a bunch of these out and hand them out to like my hairdresser and my bank teller, people that I know. They're just the greatest kits. And I love seeing the smile on people's faces when they get stuff like this. Okay, so I'm just gluing all 4 of these right to my card front. So it looks like they're dancing. I like the position that they're in. Okay, so there's my 4. Now I'm going to do a sentiment. You know what? This one's a little too low. Let me just move him up just a tad. There we go. I'm going to bring in the gorgeous grape. Stamp the Happy Halloween. Put 2 dimensionals. And then I'm just going to stick this over on one of the skeletons like he's holding it up. So I'm going to do that right there. The last part, I'm using the tag, the little white tag, and the little hand. I'm actually going to, let me see, I need something under my white tag so I can see what I'm doing. I've got the little skull. I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape this time. And what do we got? Trick or Treat. Now, I don't know if that's going to fit. You know what? That's not going to fit. I don't do these ahead of time, so I just flipped it over, and I'm actually just going to use the Trick or Treat. So now the next step in this card, we need something to hold the easel up, and that's where this comes in. So I've got one of the Gorgeous Grape tags. And what I'm going to do is position my card where I want it to stand up. So I want it to stand up about there so people can actually see what's going on. I'm going to lay the tag, let me see, right there. So you can see now that that holds my card open. I'm going to glue this tag right over this purple one, and then glue the little hand. And this time I'm going to put the hand this way to make it look like he's holding on to the tag. So there you go. That actually folds flat for mailing. You can see that it folds flat, and then you just lift it up, tuck it in place, and it stands up like an easel card. So that's what it looks like when it's standing up. Isn't that cute? So let me put this aside, and now I'm going to set up for my third project. Now this one, I'm actually using a glue gun. I've got my glue gun all heated up. I've got quite a few layers. And hold on a second. I wanted to go get my sheet for the designer paper so you guys will know what I'm using. I'm actually using the Monster Bash designer paper. You can see all of these patterns. For some of you guys that are not really into Halloween, I love the back of the non-Halloween side that you can use for just about anything. Okay, so we've got thick Whisper White, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And I've got a second piece of Whisper White, and this one measures 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm actually going to glue that to the front using dimensionals. So this is a 2-layer white card. I'm going to have lots of designer paper on the front. Next is a piece of designer paper that measures 5 1/4 by 2. That's what I love the most about Paper Pumpkin. You can add just a few supplies and make some gorgeous cards with them. Okay, there's the designer paper. Now what I've done is I've cut the top and bottom off of a box. I'm actually leaving it just like this with the double-sided. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. I just wanted it to have a thicker look to it. And it actually fits perfectly on a 4-inch piece of cardstock. Now we're going to do a little bit of magic. So I've gone ahead and cut out 2 pieces of the designer paper, and those measure 12 inches by 1 1/2. I've gone ahead and scored every 1/2 inch all the way across and then folded accordion style. So I'm going to do that with this one also. And I'm going to be creating a rosette. So what I do is I fold on the score lines and then I smush. I just keep folding and smushing. And if you've never made a rosette before, they're really easy. Okay, now I just need to make sure my designer paper is facing in the same direction, which it is. I'm going to add liquid glue to one end. I think this one's out. I have a few bottles that I've been using that are almost completely out. Okay, I need to add glue on 2 of the scored pieces. And we're just going to layer that together. And we're going to do the same thing on the other end. And then I'll have to use the glue gun to finish up. Okay, so that makes a huge circle. Now what I'm going to do is bring in this circle, add some hot glue to it. Make sure you're really careful not to get it on your fingers. And then what I do is take this and just flip it. And then you just gather it together to make a circle. And I'm going to try to plop it on there. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. I just made a mess, see? Let me turn this over. I got it all over my finger. It's not very hot, so I'm good. Let's try this again. it kind of wants to escape from you, so you kind of have to grab it. I am going to get this, seriously. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to press it in place, make sure it's nice and tight. And then I'm going to bring in my glue gun, add some more at the top. And then bring in my second circle. Press it in place. And then this is where the doily comes in. Where's my glue dots? I lost my glue dots. Here they are. Again, I'm going to add a glue dot in the center. Stick that to my doily. Add dimensionals to my skeleton. And then add him right in the center. And lastly, we've got the Happy Halloween. I've got glue strings everywhere. I'm gonna do pumpkin pie this time. And I don't want that one. That one says toxic. Let me bring in my chamois to, I want the Happy Halloween showing on the front. Okay, so now I'm running out of dimensional, so let me grab a sheet of my own. Again, I'm just gonna add that to the right and glue it by tucking it under his hand. And now we're ready to add that to the card front, and I'm going to add more glue. And add this to my card front. So it makes for a nice thick card that would probably have to be hand delivered. But isn't that cute with the rosette in the center like that? So let me go ahead and bring in all of the other projects that I made. This was the little 2-box goodie treat holder. And then this was the easel card. So I hope you enjoyed my projects for today, and make sure you subscribe by October 10th to receive the Christmas kit for October and the coordinating tags for the November kit. Thanks so much for joining me today, everyone, and I hope you have a nice week. Talk to you later. Oh, and I'll be on tomorrow again at 10 a.m. with my Techniques Tuesday. See you then.